There's a competition. There is a legit 100% competition. If you want to talk about one of the most talented quarterbacks in the country, Dwan Mathis does not get past 2 or 3 in the country. You watch that guy throw, he can throw it through a car wash and it not get wet. It is insane. He's got so much arm talent, he can sling the mess out of it. He's a 4-4 type athlete. He's a freak athlete. You watch him. He's not polished yet, and he's not buttoned up and not smooth. That's David Pollack talking about Dwan Mathis, talking about the quarterback situation at Georgia. That's something that looked very different some time ago when Jamie Newman was still in town. And then after Jamie left, here comes JT Daniels. But for the Dogs coming into this season, it's looking like the two younger guys, but particularly Dwan Mathis, is someone you need to watch. More and more as we've gotten through this fall camp, or whatever we're calling it now, you're hearing the whispers, and now you're hearing former Georgia players, the All-American type that are in media, whether you're talking about Aaron or David Pollack, that Mathis has caught fire here. Clearly something's happened in the last few days or weeks or whatever you want to call it, and Dwan Mathis has gotten going, and apparently Beck has as well. I don't know if that's a matter of Daniels not being full go or not or what, but again, when we listen to, David does have a little hyperbole in him. That's true, a little more than Aaron Murray, but this quote, he can sling the mess out of it. He's a 4-4 type athlete. The discussion now coming out of Athens is becoming pretty clear, which is that they've got a really good quarterback in Dwan Mathis that they want to really continue to progress. And right now, that's probably what's holding him back a little bit is, A, he doesn't have experience. B, he's trying to get full command of this offense. It's a brand new offense. To all three of these guys. And I think Daniels is probably further ahead of all three guys who are left that are probable starters. But Mathis is a guy apparently who's doing some special things. But there's a risk-reward with Dwan Mathis. And guys like that who are risk-reward guys, you got to play them. Like, they got to be out there. Because and I'm not saying he's got to be the starter, and I'm not saying he's got to be the guy that you go win the game with, or try to go win the game with on the final drive. But, Kirby's not going to wait a long time to get someone who he views as a particularly gifted player into a game. You think about the North Carolina game in 2016. There was no way Jacob Eason wasn't going to be the person who was responsible for the win or the loss of that game as it relates to the quarterback position. I know Nick Chubb basically won that game and the Georgia defense. But in a lot of ways, you're looking at a situation that's the same as that. And some people are going to say you're not going to see Kirby make the same mistake twice, talking about putting a truly gifted athlete at quarterback who happens to also play quarterback as a position. I'm not sure this is the same as Justin and Jake in 2018, but I am sure that this is the same in that Mathis is gifted and can run. Beck can run too. Daniels is not a runner. Beck cannot run like Mathis. I think there's some discussion as to which of them has the better arm talent. People I trust say it's Beck. But that's not the point here. The point is we get too overwhelmed with arm talent. You can have a gifted arm and not even play football, let alone quarterback. It's about who's going to play this position the best. And raw ability, which is something that all these guys possess, but apparently particularly Mathis, that's good and everything, but you don't get a pass for raw athletic ability if you're not doing what you're supposed to do as a quarterback. And I think that's what they want to see moving forward. No one's going to worry about Dwan Mathis's athletic ability if he plays like the quarterback from Tech and Florida State over the weekend. that you want to see playmaking ability within the bounds of reason. So that can be not just getting Georgia out of mistakes with your playmaking ability, but not making mistakes with your playmaking ability. So all of these guys, whether you're talking about Matthew, I mean, Matthew is a very good example. And I'm not confusing Dwan Mathis with Matthew Stafford. But all of these quarterbacks are a little bit of cowboys. They're heroes to some degree. And Jake Fromm was probably the least of that of a lot of guys. But what you don't want is a cowboy. You want a quarterback. And what we're going to see here over these next few weeks or maybe months is who can play quarterback the best at Georgia. And, here's again, Pollack. There's a competition. There is a legit 100% competition. If you want to talk about one of the most talented quarterbacks in the country, Dwan Mathis does not get past 2 or 3 in the country. You go watch that guy throw. He can throw it through a car wash and it not get wet. It's insane. I mean, I think that's kind of all you need to know is that you've got a guy. Aaron would tell you they have 3 quality quarterbacks. I need to see more of Mathis. That's the biggest thing. How much, what are we really dealing with there? Because the entire time he was at Georgia, you basically watched them throw the football in practice. And even then he was limited because of the brain situation. So if this guy is as good as it sounds like, if this guy is as good as advertised, coming from not just former players, but from inside the program, talking about his athletic ability, then this is a matter of teaching him how to function as a quarterback in the best way possible. You're going to have to do that with him. You're going to have to do that with Beck. They do not have what you need already inside of them. That has to be developed, and it's going to be about fighting through this competition. It's going to be about learning how to play the right way, diagnosing not just who the Mike linebacker is, but everything that's involved. I mean, again, no one's going to feel sorry for you in Tuscaloosa because you're athletic or you have a really good arm. When you check out of something or into something, Alabama is going to do the same exact thing if you give them time. Their defense is going to check right into something to counter what you've gotten into. This is not just throwing a football. This is much more than that. And that's the part, I think, that's the part where they're probably more comfortable with Daniels than they are with Beck and Dwan. And that's just the thing, though. Mathis, Beck, they're not going to get what JT Daniels has unless they're playing. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And not playing in scrimmages. Playing when there's actual pressure on. There have been quarterbacks in the past at Georgia where when the Dogs are down, then they start racking up yards and stuff. That's not playing quarterback. That's just being the guy back there, okay? You need a guy who can take the pressure and deal with it. And right now, we don't know a lot about Daniels, but we know at least a season's worth. We don't know anything about Mathis and Beck, and that's what we're trying to find out. But clearly they have some capability there, and we're just going to see where this goes. Dean Legge from Dog Post, you see the screen, that's Brock Vandergriff, the next guy that gets to have this scrutiny about him. Check out his first game highlights right there.